Hi Gemini, welcome to your end of April 2019 General Tarot Update. It's Raina. Shuffling of cards. Never a more perfect first card than for you than that. Kind of the story of your life, actually. Let's pick an extra card because nature of the Nine of Cards. Okay. I think sometimes when I pick a card like the Nine of Swords, it is not a resolution card for me, but boy, talk about the tale of two cards there. The Nine of Swords and then the Ace of Wands. Couldn't be more night and day. Probably your choice. You know, this is a card of duality. The Two of Pentacles, I said it could never be a more perfect card for you because look at that. That's your symbol. Two. And Roman numeral. I don't know. Somebody told me whether or not that's connected to the Roman numeral, the Gemini sign. But anyway, and I forgot. Two of Pentacles, see the water behind. Sometimes it can indicate a job offer overseas, but typically this is a card of the juggler. The person who's juggling two things in life, two jobs, two relationships. Gemini likes things in twos. And that can indicate that you are living a very hectic life at the moment, which is probably true anyway. You don't need Miss Cleo to tell you that, you know, that Gemini is probably always got their hands in something. And always keeping busy. But in this particular case, it could be specifically two jobs. And, of course, it could be two relationships, I suppose. In the past position, we have the Seven of Swords. And it's almost like, this is like, I'm thinking of like moonlighting, where you decided that maybe you have like this whole thing planned. Because the Seven of Swords can be kind of strategizing. But it can be stealing. It can be... and I'm not saying you're stealing, but maybe somebody was stealing your ideas and you want to get out of it, like advertising. Perhaps in relationships, it's showing this sense of choosing between two people. Maybe somebody's been cheating on you. Who knows? And you're deciding whether or not to stay connected to this person. But in any case, I do feel that if this is a work situation, that you are trying to be very on the down low. Like if you have another job, which the Two of Pentacles suggests, or you're looking for one, maybe you're just looking for one, but it almost feels like you're in the heat of it, that you are not advertising that fact because you don't want any kind of blowback for that decision to do that. And the higher message is represented by the Hangman, which is a card of inactivity. So if this was a relationship issue where you are trying to hang in there with somebody who's making a decision between you and somebody else, that you let go of the need to have it be a certain outcome, that you kind of like have made peace with it and you're going to let everything happen as it should. You're not going to try to fight anything. And this is a card associated with surrender. As I always like to say, surrender is not giving up. I know it really does have this connotation with like I give up, I surrender. Surrender is, I mean, it's kind of like a very fine distinction. It's a very subtle distinction. But surrender is inside of you, where you no longer are resisting whatever is happening. And that's not about just throwing in the towel, giving up, because sometimes that comes with it, a feeling of unhappiness, disappointment, I didn't get what I want. But this is more of being at peace with your current situation and not needing it to be any different than it is. So it could be that you're working somewhere else, or maybe this is your own business, and it hasn't like taken off as quickly as you've wanted it to. And you're like really wanting to leave your day job, but you can't. You know, I mean, you could, but you don't want to have a disruption in your finances. The hangman would be just saying, let go of that need to have that deadline right now. Maybe you were pushing it too much, and now you have to just kind of allow things to be whatever they are for the time being. And, excuse me, I was watching this video, and the topic was about the idea that if you do this, if you kind of let go of needing to control the situation, that it'll never happen, because you'll kind of be so comfortable in your current circumstances that you will just forget that you ever wanted that. And the person was saying, no, that's not, that's not how it is. And I agree with that, because I think that you can always have a dream, but at the same time, you can always be happy where you are in the moment. And that is very important. It's like if you're waiting for somebody to leave their partner, maybe this is maybe this is like some kind of an extramarital situation, but you are the one that is not in a relationship, and you're waiting for your lover to leave their spouse. And the Seven of Swords can mean you were sneaking around, and maybe you didn't want to do that anymore, and you kind of forced the other person's hand, and they still haven't kind of, done anything. And I can, the hangman in that scenario is, okay, you surrender yourself to the facts of the situation, nothing more, nothing less. And understand that that person may be intentionally dragging their feet because they really don't want to leave. I mean, if you're willing to consider that possibility, then that's okay. The card that crosses you is the Magician card. And this, you notice that the Magician is number 1. So this is about autonomy. This is about the self. This is about self-reliance. And this is in the challenge position. So if you were really self-reliant, you might even say, look, I don't think the timing is right with this relationship. I think it's better that you stay with your husband or wife, work things out. I'm going to go on my merry way, have a nice life, and really mean it. If you were to say that, it would exponentially probably cause the other person to leave their partner, because that sense of detachment always gets people. But in any case, even in the workplace, if you are unhappy there, you would be able to say, perhaps, hey, I think, it doesn't matter. I think I can double my business if I just play my cards right, pardon the pun. So here's my pink slip. But a lot of people are very afraid of the unknown. And, excuse me, even though you're somebody that I associate with living in the moment more, especially if you have inner planets in Cancer, you may not be that way. You may be much more cautious and afraid of any disruption in your income. The advice is represented by the Ace of Cups. This is beginning I would call it like, I was going to say a labor of love, even though it's not really a labor, but to me it's like follow your bliss. But again, this is not to suggest that you shouldn't have more than one income stream. That's what the Two of Pentacles can be, multiple income streams, at least two. And that means that you never are in a position where you're totally hanging out to dry. You are. I didn't even think about the Hangman when I said that. But maybe that's the thing. It's like, maybe that's what the spiritual message is saying. Don't hang yourself out to dry by just limiting your options. Even if you're not happy with your day job, work on finding another source of income, maybe one that is pretty steady, because when you work for yourself, you don't have any guarantees about steady income. And for people who have a lot of responsibilities at this time in their life, they may have to alter how they make money in order to have that constancy. So it's not a one-size-fits-all, but the Ace of Cups is about kind of embracing that desire to start something new that has your heart. So same thing with relationships. You might decide, I'm done with this relationship because I can't really, it's kind of like stalled with the Hangman. So I don't want to wait around forever. Okay, so we have two cards. I did pick an additional one. This is how I'm reading it. I'm reading that this is a warning if you do not change yourself. So that the outcome can be anxiety, insomnia. The feeling of, this is like the nightmare card. And the point being that if the other cards don't really point to some sort of really deeply negative emotional situation that you're in, but it could be because you're keeping so busy you're not really dwelling on it. And the Nine of Swords is about that time, which usually for most people is going to be in the middle of the night, when everybody else is asleep, you're alone, you wake up, maybe you've had a bad dream, and you have to face whatever's going on in your life. And during the day, maybe you can suppress it because you're very busy. So over busyness can lead to a person who is kind of like shoving their problems under the rug. And maybe that Two of Pentacles speaks to that hectic nature that comes out anyway, and then has to be dealt with. And the way that it's dealt with is by assuming responsibility for your life, not acting like you are a victim. Even the Hangman is connected to Neptune, which is the ruler of Pisces, and there is that Christ-like, that, I would say, get off the cross. Stop being the person that feels responsible for other people, for their feelings, and really, want to honor yourself. The Ace of Cups, it's like turning over a new leaf emotionally. And then here we have another ace. Ace of Wands alongside this Nine of Swords, enthusiastic new beginnings. So both the Ace of Cups and the Ace of Wands are emotional cards. And so you may have been feeling for a while now, Gemini, that you were kind of numb inside because of a negative situation. And now you have the opportunity to pursue something that really makes you feel so much more emotionally connected and also passionate about whatever it is that you're doing. And it's not lost on me that the Magician card came up with these two aces. It's like the challenge is you stepping up to the plate and assuming responsibility and believing that you hold the key. This is a card of resourcefulness. So it's not about, oh, I don't have enough money for a business loan. It's more like saying, I don't need a business loan. I can do this. I just researched and I found out there are free websites. They may not look pretty, but I can use them temporarily until I'm, more on my feet and I've really accomplished. I have a lot more under my belt. You can, people who are really feeling free, they don't fall back on those things that say, oh, I need this business loan, I need this. They really can think for themselves, and they can do so in very kind of innovative ways. And the Magician, magic for me was always kind of random. It's kind of like, okay, I'll pull a rabbit out of the hat. When before I put like a coin into the hat, now a rabbit is coming out. And it didn't seem like it was logical. And I found out that there was a great practical application to the concept of magic. And magic being what we create with our own thoughts, with our thought power. And how that can just have a mind of its own, and then it kind of is self-perpetuating. But also relying on the self, not waiting for somebody else to give you the permission to do something or to give you ideas. You have so many ideas that you could capitalize on, Gemini. I really do believe that. And it's up to you to really own your autonomy. Okay, that's what I have for you, Gemini. If you'd like a personal reading, the link is below. Take care. Bye.